Welcome back to Insight. Dave Farnbauch from Sweeney Law Firm joins us, and we want to talk about keeping our relatives safe in the nursing home, correct?
Correct. The topic I'd like to talk about today, Dirk, is the issue of we've seen a real influx in our office of what I would just generically call wound cases or pressure ulcers, and I think our viewers ought to be alerted, those of you who have family members that are in a nursing home, that a lot of times family members are ones that can sort of head this off at the pass before it becomes a crisis situation. Oftentimes family members are not aware until it becomes too late that their family members have a pressure ulcer. So I thought we'd talk a little bit about that today on what pressure ulcers are and what kind of problems that they can cause and how family members can kind of intervene and prevent that from becoming a crisis situation.
Well, I'll ask the hard-hitting question. What is a pressure ulcer then?
Well, a pressure ulcer, when somebody, a lot of people that are in nursing homes are bedbound. And a pressure ulcer is exactly that. We brought a little poster along. What it is, when you're what we call bony prominences, your coccyx, your heels, other parts of your body are laying on a mattress for extended periods of time, there's pressure that develops that impedes the blood flow to that area, and you can develop very serious wounds that in turn can sort of reach the point where they can become infected, develop sepsis, those sorts of issues. We have lots of cases in our office where the pressure ulcers in the buttocks area actually tunnel down to the bone, and it becomes a very serious, life-threatening situation. And so where the families can help is that when you go in to see your loved one in a nursing home, I think it's always a good idea, particularly if somebody's bedbound, to do an assessment of their skin, because oftentimes these residents are not properly turned. Their skin isn't properly assessed on a regular basis. So if you're going to visit your loved one, you ought to have a look at their skin, their backside, their heels. That's another area where you can develop pressure ulcers. So if you notice any redness or any wounds developing, you can let the nursing staff know or get a hold of a doctor before it becomes like I said, a very serious situation.
Is it? I mean, it seems hard to me to imagine that somebody could have these ulcers developing and not feel them say something. I mean, so you're talking to somebody who's truly bedbound, or is this? Can this just kind of creep up on someone?
Because a lot of times, a patient that might have compromised. For example, a lot of patients have neuropathy, elderly patients. So sometimes at the early stages, they can't even feel these pressure ulcers, but it doesn't mean that they're not occurring, and it's when they become what we call stage 3 and stage 4, they can become susceptible to infection and sepsis and that sort of thing. So you wouldn't believe how many times family members come in when you have a very deep pressure ulcer, for example, on the coccyx or the heel, that the family and the resident had no idea even existed. So it's something that you have to watch out for. If you have a loved one in a nursing home, have a look at their skin from time to time.
Yeah, that's good advice. And again, if you have any questions, if you find this after the fact and haven't been able to head it off at the pass, Sweeney Law Firm, 420-3137. We will be right back on Insight.